Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. To get into the Christmas spirit, I'm going to share some of my favorite Christmas treat recipes with you guys. These are all really easy to make, they're festive, and they're delicious. Like really delicious. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, I'm going to show you how to make an Eggnog Frappuccino, which was inspired by the Starbucks Eggnog Creme Frappuccino, which contains no coffee. So all you need is half a cup of eggnog and 1 cup of ice. That is literally it for the ingredients. All I did was added the eggnog into my blender. I always like adding liquids first so that it blends easier. And then I added in the ice. I screwed on the lid and I blended away. And just so you guys know, this recipe is single serve, but if you're making it for more people, you can multiply the recipe by the amount of people you make it for. And once it's fully blended, it should have a very thick milkshake-like consistency. All that's left to do is pour it in a glass, and if you guys have had the Eggnog Creme Frappuccino from Starbucks and are planning on making this recipe, let me know in the comments down below if this tastes similar. I'm very curious to know. You can definitely drink this as is, but because I'm extra, I had to add a bunch of whipped cream and some cinnamon. This drink looks amazing and it tastes even better. If you love eggnog, you should definitely give this a try. You will not be disappointed. Next up, I'm going to show you how to make hot chocolate. All you need for this is 1 cup of milk. I used whole milk, but feel free to use any milk of your choice. Some cocoa powder, some sugar. I used regular sugar, but once again, use any sugar you like. And this is optional, but highly recommended, and that is vanilla extract. All I did was add the milk into a pot, and then I turned the stove on low heat and let the milk warm up for a few minutes. Once the milk was nice and hot, I added in 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. If you want a more intense cocoa flavor, you can add in another teaspoon. I then added in 2 teaspoons of sugar. This was the perfect sweetness for me, but if you like your hot chocolate to be more sweet, you can add in another 1 to 2 teaspoons. I whisked this until fully combined, and then I added in 2 more ingredients. The first one being a pinch of salt, which brings out the chocolate flavor. Sorry guys, I forgot to add this in the ingredients before. And then also a splash of vanilla extract. I gave this 1 more good whisk, and then I poured it into my mug. And just so you guys know, this recipe is also single serve. You can definitely have this hot chocolate as is, but I of course had to add in a bunch of marshmallows because I love adding marshmallows to my hot chocolate, and this is the final recipe. It's so easy to make and really, really good. Moving on, I'm going to show you how to make some Christmas Rice Krispies. All you need for this is 40 big marshmallows or 5 cups of mini marshmallows, 6 cups of Christmas Rice Krispies, a 1/4 cup of butter or margarine, and this is optional, but a little bit of vanilla extract. And I am not going to lie, this recipe did come off of the back of the Rice Krispies box, but I had to include it in here because I love Christmas Rice Krispies. Anyways, I greased a pan, set that aside, and then into a pot over the stove, I added in the butter and mixed until it was fully melted. Then to that, I added in the marshmallows, and I stirred the marshmallows with the butter until fully combined on low heat. This took a few minutes. And doesn't that look so good, guys? I then turned off the heat and added in a splash of vanilla extract and stirred that into the marshmallow mixture. And once that was done, I added in my Christmas Rice Krispies. I also spilled them everywhere, but what else is new? And then I gave that a good stir until fully combined. Okay, once my mixture was good to go, I poured it into my lightly greased pan. This was a little bit difficult to do at first because it was kind of heavy to carry. And then I pressed that down into the pan with a spatula. At first, it stuck to my spatula, but as I kept on pressing down the mixture, it evened out. Then I cut the Rice Krispies using a pizza cutter. You can just use a normal knife. I just did this to get a more even cut. And as you can see here, the Rice Krispie mixture stuck to my pizza cutter. So I added water onto it, and that solved the problem. If you are having the same problem, just add water onto your knife, and that's going to ensure a nice, clean, even cut. By the way, I cut the Rice Krispies into 15 generous squares, and don't these look amazing? I love Rice Krispies. But I am not done yet. The last thing I did was put the Rice Krispies on a festive plate. You definitely don't have to do this, but if you want to, you totally can. The reason why I did this was for the purpose of the video and so that the presentation can look a little bit nicer. And there you have it, Rice Krispies. This is a very simple recipe, but I have to make it every year because I love Christmas Rice Krispies. And of course, I need to do the infamous Rice Krispie pull. These are so delicious. And moving on to the next recipe, I'm going to show you how to make peppermint bark. I used white chocolate and semi-sweet chocolate, but feel free to use any chocolate of your choice when making this. I also used candy canes. If you have crushed peppermint, you can definitely use that, but I didn't, so I just put them in a bag and crushed them with a spoon and then set those aside for later. Then I took a pan and lined it with some parchment paper and set that aside while I melted the chocolate. I melted 1 cup of white chocolate and 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate. You can do this in the microwave or on a double boiler like what I did. Once the chocolate was nice and melted, I added that onto the parchment paper. And there's really no specific way to add the chocolate, just do whatever you feel. I decided to put the chocolate into different sections so that I could later on swirl them together with a spoon like this. And you can pretty much just swirl the chocolate until it looks the way you want it to. And then I sprinkled on the crushed candy canes. Once I finished doing that, I popped the peppermint bark into the fridge for 30 minutes. You might have to put it in for more or less time depending on the thickness of the chocolate, so just keep that in mind. And as you can see, once the chocolate has set, it peels right off of the parchment paper, and that looks pretty good. All that's left to do now is break up your peppermint bark into pieces. And by the way, if you know someone who loves peppermint bark, you can easily gift this by putting it in a little bag or also a gift box or something. But I just ended up putting it on a festive plate like this. And that is how the peppermint bark turned out. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely try making at least one of these recipes. You will not be disappointed. And with all that being said, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!